everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever it is you are. My name is Ideologue and Distinguished Awoist, the convener of the Legacy Discussion Circle. I'm here at Pa Ayo Adebanjo's house. He's an Afenifere chieftain, a foremost Yoruba leader, and he's also a nationalist. I'm here to have a chat with him for about an hour on his perspectives on various issues about Nigeria, and I invite you to come along with me for this chat. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ideologue and Distinguished Awoist, convener of the Legacy Discussion Circle. I was here with Papa last week, and we were talking, and I felt that this is something that we need to document for others to listen to, for others to share. So graciously, Papa accepted that we should come in again today and just spend some time with him, asking him a few questions about something, because the truth is, he's one of the oldest patriots that we have in this land. He's a man who has been there, who was part of, the development of Nigeria at a lot of key stages, even as recently as 2014. He was a very close ally of, the former premier of the Western region, the great Chief Afenifere Leader. So we just want to tap from that knowledge, and I'm sure that, this would, a lot of people will learn from this. So, Papa, I would like to say good afternoon again, sir. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for allowing us to come into your home and to borrow a little of your time.
No, it's a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. I think the first thing I really want to ask you, a lot of people in my generation and a lot of us, we keep asking, what is the Nigerian dream? As at independence in 1960, we were more than 30 years old as at independence. And so I want to ask, what were the thoughts that were going through your mind at that time? How did your generation see Nigeria? What are the things that, because when we talk about the American dream today, we talk about the British dream, we talk about there's a national aspiration. So what was the Nigerian dream as at that time?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Most of us, I must thank you for this gesture. And I wish there are more of you growing up to be of this patriotic foresight. You see, by the time we are clamoring for independence, we are looking forward to a Nigeria that we compare with all the civilized world. We have gone abroad, our leaders have gone abroad, and we were inspired by people like Dr. Azikwe, Shifaulo, Aminu Kanu, and Magnus Williams, Abat Macaulay, and all that. And we believe if we have our own independence, our people could do better than the colonialists. And of course, by the time Shifaulo started the Western region, we proved that. Because for the whole up to 1950, the total number of scholarships that were granted to Nigeria by the colonial people was 112 Nigeria. But by then, besides that who came in, we offered 200 scholarships in 1952.
In the Western region?
The Western region, under the Free Education something.
Yes.
Those were our ambition to show that we can do better than the colonialists. Yes. All the development that we have been reading up, and the inspiration given us by Dr. Azikwe and our progressive leaders at that time really inspired us that we must have independence. When we got to Iran, those who are students, they should carry banner, self-government for Nigeria, independence for Nigeria. Yeah. Because the more we look at the development there, you can imagine that by the time we are independent, we shall be able to do as much. Yes. That was our ambition.
Okay. I get it, sir. It's interesting that you mentioned Dr. Azikwe.
Of course.
Because I was going to ask you that you were initially you were
I was
you looked up to,
Ezekist.
you were a Zikist.
was
You
a
were
Zikist,
you
my
were a
mom.
Zikist, you know, and then you became an Awoist.
Yes.
What would you say was the common trend between politicians back then?
No, they were all nationalists. They want independence for the country. What separated the two was the question of should you be federal or unitary.
Mm-hmm. And Chief Afenifere Leader wanted federal, while
that was a development.
Unitary.
Azikwe was one of those who inspired another. He was a foremost inspirer for independence, even in West Africa. I have been reading Azikwe's book when I was in primary school.
Yeah.
You see, in my autobiography.
Yeah.
I've been reading that since 1942, when I was in primary 5.
Yes. Okay.
I stayed in West African pilots regularly.
Which was, he had a column in at that time.
Yeah, it was the leading paper that inspired the youth. And he had a column then inside Sub Isaac. We read it and commit to memory. And the nationalists then, like Dr. Shipman Dos Williams, he will write between ourselves, inspiring us that these white people, they can't do as much for us. Oh, it was a period of great nationalism. The difference was question of who will do better. We don't kill ourselves. There was no. It was a battle of tongue, fire. You see that. So.
If I want to ask you, as somebody who looked up to Zik and then you looked up to Awo, for politicians of my generation, for many of us coming up and with aspiration in politics, what would you say are one or two things or three things or several things that we should have that was present in politicians back then, in the nationalists, in the men that you look up to, that we need?
Particularly at this period, particularly after the military takeover, it was a different kettle of fish. Most of you who followed us, with the hindsight, because I'm able to see the truth, you are not as ideologically committed as we were. That is why those of my generation are dying out. As much as many of you now say, oh, I want to be a progressive and all that, you don't want a change of government for the sake of changing what the government should do. You want a change for personnel. You want to talk of corruption, you want to be in the position to be corrupted. That is the truth. In both parties. I'm in a position to see it now.
Yes, yeah. Yes, yeah.
Now, and look, that's why when people say I should forgive the Tinubu, I should forgive that.
We are going to come to that, sir.
No, the passion I have is not in the generation. And as I told you when you come last time,
yes,
the more I see of this country, the more I feel sorry. And as I told you, I'm not too sure about your generation, you can do better. Because right now, those of you say, oh, this government is not good. Very few of you I see the element of change. Now, I can make a blanket record which can sound blasphemous to say all the people in the government now, they are all corrupt. Both parties. Anybody in government, same one, and I tell you why, and that is the governor of your state.
Interesting, sir.
All of them are corrupt. Why? They came into corrupt system.
Yes, okay.
Now, take Buhari for instance, I think that's the latest example. You are only living with them when he said he was so poor, he had to graze a loan
to
from
buy
the bank
to
to pay for the primary.
Yes.
Now, if a person in that position has to raise a loan, With the hindsight, you can now say they were just deceiving us.
Yes. Yes.
Now, no, I prove it.
Yes, I mean, yes.
No, that's why I say I'm ready now. I'm ready for Lai Mohammed to come and take me for a speech. When I say all of them are corrupt.
No. I think they wouldn't dare. They wouldn't dare to do that.
No. You see, I want to reason why I say so.
Yes.
For them to refute, I've challenged them before. Yes, a man complained about system. Now when they came into, let us agree that because what many of them say is that when I get there, I change.
I change the system.
When they get there, they become part of them. And he is number one example.
Yes.
Somebody who complained about the corrupt system or the irregularity in the system, he now won the election. What did he do to correct it after winning?
He went after a few individuals for
reasons and the second turning now is not the same thing.
Yes.
The same system.
Yes, it was the same thing he did back then
now,
too. Yes.
He didn't have won the election. He didn't use the opportunity to say no. The system was strong. That's why I want to concede to him that at the time he was coming in, he believed that if you don't use the system, you go in. After going in now, I know it is that. That's why I say all those who are aspiring now, they don't aspire to change the system. They aspire to be in the position to continue the
benefit from
the system. Now, he didn't change it. And I give an example, I'm just doing black review. He said, oh, the number of planes they have, they're going to reduce. Yes. Parliament is this and all that. Even this humongous salary being received by the Senate, he couldn't receive. He couldn't reduce it.
Yes.
He attempted to, I want to say for him to refute. He attempted to. The legislator told him, Mister, we sold our houses and all that before we get here, we'll get our money back. All the days, everybody have been shouting, you are earning so many millions per month. But I've not refuted it.
No, still there.
They continue. And workers are clamoring for minimum wage, they say it's too much. They go and sit there sleeping in the National Assembly and they earn 30 million a day. See, that's why I say I'm not in this. I'm not in this. It is not the Nigeria we dream of. And I tell you promptly, it is the military that brought it on. I'll give you an example. When during the Macpherson Constitution that we changed in 1951, 54 was one when we pressed for a change for a state government.
Yes.
And we had to go to London Constitutional Conference by Lochandos.
Yes.
And that's when we established federalism. But before, there was no premiership in the Constitution. The leader of government business was 2,500. When we came back from London Constitutional Conference, and premiership was inserted in our constitution. You know, the politics there was that H.O. Davis said, the salaries, if I only go to earn 3,000 after there, it's too much. You see, 3,000
pounds at that time.
Per annum. Was too much. You later to understand now. But even then, 3,000 pounds plus regardless of debt. She found out how to report. Me, 3,000. I leave a job, my taxable income as a lawyer. When you say taxable, that's
yes.
You only pay tax upon.
Yes.
Was 9,000 pounds. He says you go to the tax office. That is the business he left to take
come and
the
take
job
the
of
premiership.
2,000.
Yes.
Can you see the difference? Even at that time, people are criticizing something there. What is happening now?
Now the reverse is the case.
So, you see, it is to the extent that when we were during the Second Republic and we were in the opposition parliament and they raised the salary of senators, Chief Odebi, Ye Odebi,
Senator Jonathan
was the Senate leader of the opposition. He was my teacher at the grammar school.
Oh, okay.
Chief Olu had to query him and you sat down there, you allowed them to
raise
it. He happened with that. So all that fought for you people have disbanded. If you see the way he was lamenting at the party meeting, chastising Chief Odebi for you took part in that. That is people who are really hear anything. So you can see our reaction now with what is going on now.
It's a different situation.
When even in the party who claim that to be there from our own, that is Tinubu. When a man has to deposit 10 million naira to the party in order to contest an election, how can you say a young graduate who is brilliant and all that, you come to contest election? Can he?
No, we won't be able to.
That is why when I listen to the program of the people that they say, oh, yeah, young man, we are going to do it. What does he do now to ensure that there is a conducive atmosphere and you won't get it under this constitution? What you should fight for now is for this country to be structured back to federalism. Anybody from whichever party that wins an election under this constitution is the most powerful man in the whole world. He's a dictator. He has all the power. He won't like to yield. Just see what is happening. Ordinary security in the state, with the constitution says the governor is the chief security officer.
Yes.
He has no control over the police.
Over the police, yes. Still has to report.
What kind of control is that? So when this is happening, he tells the commissioner of police officer, he has to refer to Abuja. That is constitution you're having now. That is why they would like to change the constitution now. That is why I say, anybody telling you about the election now, he asking to continue to be in slavery. There is no doubt about it. There is a constitution that says there are more local governments in the north than the south. You should ask yourself, what is the yardstick of creating the local government? More states in the north than the south. What is the criteria? Because during the military, every general wanted the local government in this place. And to climax the fraud, they now say the revenue collected from the south should be divided on the basis of the number of local governments. You see the inequity from the legislation? Yes. Fundamental constitutional inequity. Fundamental fraud. And you don't have to consider that. You now collect the money from this from south. You now say we give them 30%. You now dictate how much money I should be giving out of my resources. Very unfair. So many things. So that is why I say the atmosphere you are now is quite different from pre-independence until the military took over in 1966. And when we say we should have restructuring now, it's because all the complaints we are having now is embedded in the constitution imposed on us by the military. By the time that one is wiped up, Our conflict is minimal. I have challenged them, they have not defeated it now. And I often ask this question, which you people don't ask. I said, Buhari, are you more Fulani than Sardana?
Yes, sir.
Are you more intelligent than Sardana? Sardana, Aulo, Azikwe agreed on the terms of this constitution.
Yes.
Before we have begun
and how Nigeria should be.
How Nigeria should be. That's not that side. And I also challenge Adeshino and Garba Shehu that as your boss, we campaigned for him in 2007, Afenifere. He gave us an agbada. We campaigned for him at Adamasimba when he said he was going to do restructuring.
Restructuring, yes.
People don't, you see, these are all things that make me get fed up with this with the citizenship. I have no personal quarrel against him. He also promised restructuring when he was going to contest with Bakari.
Yes.
Did he do it?
No, he did not.
Even under this constitution, which Tinubu stupidly and foolishly put us back to it, he is now seeing his stupidity. Restructuring was number one on the agenda.
Yes, it was.
Not only that, he didn't do it. When pressure was much in 2018, the very parties that set up a reform committee.
Yes.
They recommended
it. Yes, for restructuring.
So this is the power Buhari is exercising under this constitution. He would like to leave it. It is the power he's using to Fulanize. It is the power he's using to cheat the South. All the key positions in the country, security, finance, everything, no. Invariably from Katsina. Even the North is not the court. This is why, until this constitution is changed, they are not going anywhere. You can appear, and I've said it that he is not interested in the peace. Everybody says this and that. Even when Absalom now told that it was there, he said he was in a hurry. Because Afenifere insisted at that. Now that they are going back to the barracks, send us back to the constitution you met us. You know, they have not been able to dispute that with Chris. He said, no, when you get there, you can set your own constitution. We foresaw it. That is why we have insisted now that the question of restructuring or going back to federalism should no longer be an election issue. We must settle it. If you are going to live it together, we must agree.
We must agree to live together.
We are going to live together, we must agree on the terms of living together.
Yes.
That was what happened before independence. That was what we agreed to at United Victor in Lord Chandos, Colorado, before we had granted independence. They have not disputed it. So we will have to do. And I ask you, all the time, Pastor just said, Absalom said, all the leading people in the country say, wait, Nigeria is in this specifics. You must do something to prepare war. You must do something to prepare war. What have you heard from the president?
Said nothing.
And when I accuse that he's behind the Fulani men, his body language is giving them approval. We have been living with these people over the years. Why does it become so a problem when he came in? Ask yourself.
And it's the same thing many people are asking that, look, we have had Fulani presidents before in the past, right from Sardauna all the way to Shagari and all these people. But it seems that the ethnic clashes have never been this high.
And with all that shout, if Buhari is sincere, I'm always very specific. As he come to the air to say, no, don't be afraid, there's nothing like that. To dissuade their mind. He just be telling. And when, because, you see, there's so much of.
There's so much to unbundle there. But let me,
No, I want to
yes,
make this point for you.
Go on, sir.
Because they always claim it. And you people watch it. They are trying to change the narrative, making the complainant now the accused. If now we change the Fulani aspect of leave our place, they say, oh, you are discriminatory. You are driving the Fulani away. We are under the constitution. We are charging to live anywhere. They forget to say Fulani herdsmen who are raping, kidnapping, destroying our farms.
Yes.
We have not asked them go to go.
The criminals among them.
So when they say they should stop this, we are no fools. All the Fulani who have investment in the West, in Lagos, we have not asked them to go. The largest investment of Dangote is in the West.
Yes, it is.
Is our friend. We are friends among the Fulani who are civilized. Now mix it up. Anytime they want to complain, they say they are there, they kill our cows. They don't talk about the damage the Fulani people did to the farms. They burn houses, they rape, they kidnap, they keep quiet on that. You look at what happened at Ibadan. They now say they want compensation. They arrested one group and leave the others. The injustice is so much. And that is why our young men who can no longer to say they want to break. Those of us who are talking of structuring now, but for the respect many of them have for people like me. Many say, Papa, we don't want this, let these people go. I would like the country to break. Myself, and I have challenged Buhari. I have invested in a United money better than himself when he was still in primary school.
Yes, you've always been the part of the national.
No. It's not the general statement. I'm specifically. Whenever I accuse them, it's not the question of boasting like a fool. That Boko Haram area, northeast, I spent 1 year there in 1979 campaigning for the UPN. Do I have to go there and leave my ways if I don't believe in the United country? In the early years, I was the campaign officer in the lorry and Kaba. Bring everybody together. And that was why the Action Group at that time is the only national party in the country, notwithstanding all the propaganda of the opposition. In the fourth parliament, you will not know this because it tells you No! We are the only party that has representation in every parliament in Nigeria in the First Republic. It is not a statement by mouth. We are the government in the Western region. We are the leader of opposition in the North, led by Alhaji Maito. When I tell you, I mentioned it for record.
Led by who, sir, in the North?
Alhaji Maito,
okay. From
Ilori, the Chalaka Parapo, in Alliance, if you read your story.
Yes.
We are the leader of opposition in the East, led by S.G. Koku. We are the leader of opposition in federal parliament, led by S.L. Akitola. No other party can claim it. And yet they say we are sectional. NPC does not go beyond the North. NCNC does not go beyond the East.
NCNC was strong in Lagos.
No, it's all right. Thereafter, So I'm only saying all this to show you that at no time was the action group a tribal organization. Only we were strong in the catchment area of Yoruba land. And that is why how the name Afenifere comes in. The action group is not for every Yoruba man, no. It is for those who believe in the philosophy of Shifaolo. The organization for the Yoruba people are the Egbeomo Oduduwa, which was formed before the
action group, yes.
But the political agitation for Yoruba aspiration in conjunction with the other countries is the action group. And that's why we are able to get, because of our stand on the minorities, because when you hear that you are not done, you don't know why. We are the champions of the minorities. That's why they voted for us in the east, in the north, and in the west.
And some parts of Benue, the Benue axis also, GS cars and so on.
All those areas, we fought for them at the London Constitutional Conference. It was in 1954. At that conference, all the minorities, Shifaolo put them in the action group delegation from the west. We put Northerners in our delegation, Easterners in our delegation, the young people there were the Brits and others in our delegation. So when we got to that conference, and Azikwe and Saudara said there are no minorities, Shifaolo said, where are these people from? At the conference, it's not a question of sorry. That was
we're asking where are the minorities?
That was what led to willing commission of inquiry on the minorities.
Okay, yes.
That was gave back to Rivers and other stuff. Before then, they were known as core states, Calabar, Ogoja, and State. At that time, when we were comparing them, they core states forever, for them to be separated from the Igbos of the East. All this and that is to them now. That's why I tell them in the country today, we are the only organization that have been consistent, consistently consistent on what the country should be. And when they abuse us, bastardize us, they come back to it. Now everybody's talking of structure. After all the damage that been done. And still, the stubborn people who are gaining advantage, they want to do it, they will fail.
Let's come to 1999, sir. I think just before 1999, in the Alliance for Democracy, you had the primaries between Funshaw Williams and Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Some say that, Funshaw Williams seemed to be the more popular candidate. Some people feel that Funshaw Williams was the more popular candidate rather than Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but that somehow that you elders supported him, to become governor. So I wanted to ask about that and in relation with, the present state of things.
But I've been clarifying it all over in my autobiography. Nobody imposed Tinubu on us. We set up a system, and that's when the circle of primary started. Where each area we have to teach people. But with the primary, we didn't allow the people of the area to conduct it. We asked Oyo people to come to Lagos, Oyo to go to Ondo, Ondo to go to, that's all we did to have a fair election. It is that system, that's why I always say, if they say I impose, I say, I've always maintained that Tinubu won a free and fair three-cornered election. Himself, Funshaw Williams, and Kofo Bokna-Kerele. But when they declared the result, the INEC, we are appointed from Oyo, said Tinubu won. But I knew down to the chairman of local policy, another said, yes, they didn't count the figures of Williams in mainland and Ikorodu. And the INEC said, well, there was trouble down there, and we have ruled that wherever there is trouble,
you cancel the results from there.
That will give Tinubu the edge. So when they say some people impose, we say we went strictly by the system principle. It is what our INEC declare we are going to abide with. To the extent that Gani Daudu was the chairman of Lagos, has forwarded to
Funchal Williams' name.
I counted it as the chairman. That's why they put it in on me. I counted it on the principle laid down. No, our primary say this man. That is why, if you that's why Tinubu, in fairness to him, to his conscience, he came to my Nigerian birthday to declare that if I were corrupt, he would do that with government. Because I was in a position
to give it to Funchal Williams.
And my integrity today is that for that, how much did I get from you? I'm not naira. That's why I'm able to talk the way I'm talking now. And you cannot have to look at see. I know how much I pay you. Not me.
What's the situation of things now, sir? What's the situation of things now with Afenifere or with you in relation to Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
No, I have no relationship. He's with Buhari. We are opposed to them. If he had been with us, we won't be in this position. You remember, if you are like, I said APC is a conglomeration of incompatibles.
Incompatibles, yes.
That's the meaning together. It's a question of, election. I think you
get this, you get that.
There's no. What binds Tinubu claim to be from our law? What is connection with his policy and CPC?
CPC, there's none. That's meaning.
As a result,
the
moment they warn him,
they push
him aside. That's. And he wanted us to go on and on that time. No. And they sidelined our leaders at that time. That was the end of the. I was okay. You come and meet us, and that's where we are.
Now they are coming to meet.
I said to him yesterday. I asked the governor of Lagos State, tell him I want to see him. Because Yoruba leaders have been approaching me. Call these people, Baba. Call them. I call them. Oh. But the Yoruba said, I get to my son, the go for there. The Falcon does not hear the Falcon again.
Things fall apart. Okay, sir. Let me cast you back again. Just one or two more questions before I let you go, sir. Or before I take my leave, because it's your.
I don't limit on you because what you are doing.
Yes, sir.
Is for generation.
Yes.
And I'm anxious to pass the truth.
Yes.
A lot of things have been happening, and I made bold to say, I have never granted an interview where I say, oh, I just don't know what I said. I don't grant an interview off the record. There's nothing off the record. There's nothing I tell you here, I can't say it off our square. If anybody disagrees, we say his own.
Okay.
Because I tell you about Nigerian politics today, it's not what I read in the papers, not I read the book. It's what I participated in.
Yes, sir.
Any other person will tell what they read.
You were saying something earlier on, sir, about Governor Seyi Makinde.
Doctor.
About Governor Seyi Makinde. You mentioned him earlier on that you said when you were talking about the system.
Yeah, I said as now, he's the only one whom I know was on his own when he contested elections.
Okay. Because some of us look up to him in this generation.
He's the only one now. He's the only one I support wholeheartedly. But if he changes, I got it.
Of course.
I know.
You stay with the principle. Very interesting, sir. To a more recent event, to a 1999 event, the G. Rovans affair. a lot of people, and what we heard is that there's a note of secrecy that nobody's supposed to say what happened there. But I will still ask, sir, what happened between Chipola and Olufalaye?
Simple. We set up a primary there, which he took part in.
The setting up of it. So the setting up of the
Yeah.
committee.
When we are setting up in my office, and we are mentioning names, the late Papa also said that you are a candidate, you can't be, you should excuse us. He said because the deputy now the party was staying. And Tinubu, we remember, it was you who said that even in a company, if you are a director, you have an interest in anything, you will excuse yourself when they are taking a decision. How are you going to take part in nominating those who are going to do examination for you? Simple. But Papa Adebanjo overruled.
And allowed him to stay.
Furthermore, when you say there is what is called the law estropade, he took part. When we were nominating the people there who are going to examine you, he opposed this man from Malaysia, the beauty man. He's dead now, Lawrence Omole. I remember.
Omole. He was supposed to be nominated there, but
He said no. That was why Professor KB was part of that. I've said it. Let them couldn't deny. It is these people now who chose Falaye.
how did it happen? Chief,
No,
he was
no.
confident.
Thank you. No. Very confident. When they were going to do it, before then, he said cases that I as acting chairman, we should stop anybody because he's deputy leader. I said, no. When they are now going to do this nomination, it was asking us, we went to a meeting in Kaduna. We lodged in his wife's house, who was the judge
at that time.
And he was appointed myself and another guy, Papa Adebanjo, that we should give him support. I said, I cannot.
Was Pa Ayo Adebanjo there?
No. I nominated Afenifere to be vice chairman. No, these people are just, it's unfortunate for a person. He's one of the founders of our youth association. He's still.
Let's go back to Kaduna, sir. So I told you were there, you Chief Adebanjo.
He said, I told him frankly, because he later on said that why others were diplomatic, I said, okay. I said, no. If I'm the chairman of the party, we set up this thing. If I could say you are the man, where is the fairness? I am the person that I'm going to bring the point to. I've already nominated the candidate. I said, how long did he teach us that way? That's my offense.
But let me ask you, sir, was it not the tradition in the Awolowo parties that if a superior officer such as deputy leader of Afenifere was contesting, then somebody like Olufalaye should step down?
No. In fact, it was this body that
broke it.
That broke that system. That was even that. It was not a question of somebody who is next. What our law was doing was consensus.
Okay.
We did start primary until Bola Ige signed as the governor of
1979 of Oyo State. That was
listen.
Yes, sir.
It's unfortunate, man. Anyway, it's good that we have to have the court for it. That's what we have been doing all over. But Bola Ige said no, because Papa preferred Ideologue, who was his principal.
Yes.
And was one of the founding fathers of the party. And he said, you are still young. Let this man go. He said, it's either governorship or nothing. When it becomes to such a crisis, he said, let's go for primary. Are you following?
Yes, yes, sir.
It was that. Is that insistent or not? Another president we did.
It was consensus.
They have agreed. But when he said that, she found out said, primary all over. And he defeated Pa Ayo Adebanjo. You know what happened? You know how?
Yes.
Go to primary.
Yes.
He was smarter. Unfortunately, that one, he thought he was being magnanimous. He served under him.
Under the notification.
And was part of the
D-Rovans.
yeah, D-Rovans. So that was how that one happened. So when they set up that, you said now that I was very confident, very confident. He told my fellow, you see, he's always embarrassed when I mention his name, Ambassador Fapura.
Ambassador Dapo Fapura.
Dapo Fapura. He told him he had support of 13 out of the 25 people. That one told me. That was what he told me. Then he told another person. I was very confident that he would win. Then he said he was going to travel. Papa Ayo said, suppose those who want to travel they want to see you. Mind that one I told you, because that one occurred again. Somewhere where he said, we allow you to go away before we did the primary. It was when he was serving Obasanjo. Obasanjo who asked me that, why I don't agree with him. I've been fighting principle all over my life. When Papa told him, he said no, he was going for medical. So he couldn't do anything more. So he went. And he voted. And his starting became 9 or something. And now said it was me. And then I said, and I challenged him that all those of you are in that cabinet, including Shoba, if I ever mention anything to anybody, I'm not going to come out. Your problem is still alive. He approached me, we need out this. Everybody, anyone, all of them are qualified. One vote according to conscience. But somehow, you see, and in that place, he has 6 people over Pa Ayo who are in his own cabinet.
His own cabinet, yes. Lamadishino.
All the governors that have been elected, they are members of the committee.
Yes.
Lamadishino, then the commissioner of finance, Pa Ayo Adebanjo, and then Pa Ayo Adebanjo was the chairman.
Yes, of the
and they voted. Ayo Fasomi was the man who announced the result.
Yes, and he said he was especially delighted to announce it.
And then he complained later on that because he's very close to the family, that they didn't like him because he was the man who announced it. You have voted there. And for your information, neither myself, no Papa Adebanjo, no Adanu Ajayi, no Gary, we are all not members of that committee. We are not members of the Electoral Commission.
You were not at Dirovans.
We are not members. Chief Papa Adebanjo only set up the committee. All the committee members were nominated in the presence of Bola Ige. He took part, and he opposed one of the nomination. That was why had to come. I've said it in newspapers.
No, I always thought you were part of the.
No, we are not.
Okay.
Neither myself, no brother.
I wasn't there.
No, Papa Adebanjo. No, no, that would do. We are not part. Papa Adebanjo is the chairman of the party. Only set up that committee and left. You see, there are a lot of, as I tell people, I've been fighting justice throughout my life. If there is anybody should be favored, it should be Bola Ige. I've never met Olufalaye. And when people say we impose him over, I say, well, if I was guilty of anything, I was guilty of due process. The system that we are organized that shows him. No more, no less.
Okay, to
Now, again, you mentioned, I said something that I've come back to it again. When he joined Obasanjo cabinet, we are opposed to it. I am opposed to it.
But the Afenifere agreed.
No.
He said.
No, you are hearing from me.
Yes, sir.
I was actually chairman of the power of Afenifere.
Yes, sir.
We are opposed to it. And I said at that time, if Obasanjo wanted to form a, what do you call this?
Cabinet. Government of National Unity.
No, unity. He will consult the people to give people who nominate for us. That's my principle.
Yes.
It was allowed to plead with me. He said, well, if you want to do it, you consult us and say, well, I want to give me somebody. You won't nominate for us.
Not to choose somebody directly.
Why? Two, why am I opposed to it? The cabinet of Obasanjo then was the non-plus as far as I am concerned. None of them come to the category of Bola Ige. They are all part of top-class politicians. How can I take one of my best to go to that cabinet? There are a few of the people who are there who are saying that I don't want to offend them, who are people of questionable character. I said, you should go and learn credence to that committee. That people, I said that. I didn't hide my opposition. There was parallel, they said, well, you're going to do this. Well, that's what they said. And I also said, if Obasanjo is going to choose, he should come through us. He shouldn't have chosen him. If you want to form common national unity, you should ask us to nominate. You can't nominate for us. All my fellow have been on principle. Yes. They have not denied it. You just chose the agenda and you want to impose nomination on us? No. So when they now come along and say, well, allow this, so well, if you say it must go, but I believe that's not correct. Now, he now says that he now is going to be giving young post agenda on that. So I'm not interested. I don't believe you want. If they ask, and I went for that, if he wants to form a common national unity, he should ask us to choose. He will choose for us. This is where I did that. He should ask us to do somebody. He should choose for us. And I said, somebody said, could you have chosen Bola? I said, no, I wouldn't have chosen him. No, I tell you why. I said I wouldn't have chosen him. With the cabinet they has formed, I would choose him because a second cabinet will join them. I won't take my first class to go and join that rabble there. That's what I said. It's on record. So when they were going to send this matter at the party level, I said, if Obasanjo was sincere, he should have approached us that he want to form a national government. We should give it someone. He should not choose one. And we know the caliber of people there, and we give it that purpose there. They couldn't beat my argument. They said, well, yeah, done this. Okay. That was how it happened.
That's very interesting, sir. To round off, sir, let me ask you, sir. You were born the only child of your mother.
Yes.
And you have been blessed with such a long life,
Thank
and
you
I'm sure that it's for a reason, so that some of us can also continue to drink from your fountain of knowledge for a longer period. I want to ask, sir, that what is the thing that you think you want to be remembered for?
Consistency.
Some people say you are too rigid. Maybe that has now brought another question
Yes.
to my mind. Someone I know that your younger brother and your friend Chief Oshoba says that you sometimes like to be the moral, and that you act as if you are the moral authority of the Awolowo philosophy. So I'm only saying that because you said consistency now, so I just remember that
yes, that is it. That is it. I'm not ashamed of it at all.
Thank you very much. I think
And when he was doing this, I said, that company, where is the category of Bolagi there? Some of them are there. I don't want to say that I don't want to bastardize them. People. We are not that type of thing we are going to enjoy. So it's a principle. I said, I don't see the quality of Bolagi there. That's what my student was saying. And I said, I still maintain it. When I said it at one meeting called, they couldn't argue with me. I said, why is this category among the cabinet that he formed? You see, it's a very difficult thing to stand on principle. Very difficult. And each time this question arises, people just wonder when they hear my own voice, because so they tell them that I don't like it. When I was an organizing secretary, it was in his house and I live. When I come from Shagamu.
In whose house, sir?
Oh, Bolagi.
Okay.
Whenever we have a meeting in Ibadan,
Okay, yes.
I lodge in his place. It's a matter of principle.
I just remembered something. If I can add that, I know I said that was the last question. The principle, the consistency that you talked about, how difficult or easy was it for you to hold on to the Afenifere principle? Because I know there was a huge tussle when it appeared that Senator Bola Tinubu wanted to become leader of Yorubas, or like he wanted to be perceived in that way. He wanted to appear that way. And a lot of people felt at that time that at that time, that was the impression people were having. That he wants to become leader of Yorubas, with the new party from AD to AC to Action Congress. I'm talking of Senator Tinubu.
Tinubu. I was saying that Tinubu coming. This Tinubu. How is Tinubu?
I'm just saying that was that. So at that time. But you stayed firm, because a lot of people, Senator Ayo Adebanjo, Chibisi Akonde, and the rest, they formed their own faction, which he was one of the principal movers of. But you and a few others stood firm and said, this is what we believe in, this is the Afenifere we believe in, and this is what we hold on to. So I know at that time it must have been difficult because, the pressure at that time, it was almost as if the political strength was now on the other side, as if it wasn't with your side at that time. But now, of course, it is clear that, your position is vindicated. But I'm just wondering that since you said consistency is what you want to be known for, how were you able to be consistent at those dark periods, even when it looked like, like it was over?
It depends on how you come into the party. You see, there's a guiding principle. I was a Zikis. From school. I will buy the West African pilot when I was in Standard 5 in 1943. In 1942, at the Cathedral School. The copy of my pilot is the one that my teacher will read in the class. I would have bought my own in the house. So when I get to the class, the teacher Papa will say, Adebanjo, can I read your paper? Because it is in the school, they surprise you. Before they bring it, you want to read I just take my own my box and give it to him. Inside Stop by Zik, I commit it to memory. It was when Chibaulo came and was preaching federalism. And why should be federalism? That's my party with Zik. I was such a Zikist that at school, Zik had a lot of football clubs. You will not do that. Zik athletic clubs, Zik bombers, Spitfires, tornadoes, and everything. If the papers go to play in Apapa from there, I go to Apapa. I was there in school. We are so mad about Zik. He's the champion of nationalism. But the question of federalism and unity separated us. When Chibaulo now explained what is federalism, what is unity, I said, well, it was a principle. It was as equated that aroused our political consciousness in this country. And all of people accepted it. It is the way to go by that separated us. That is why I say I find it difficult these days. People jump from one party to this party. You don't know the difference. In our own case, there must be a reason.
It was what brought you in. It was the way you came in. That's why you've been able to be consistent over the years.
Of course. Of course.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the benefit of this period with you. It's a learning experience. Personally, I know we are going to be here more often as young people without the cameras to continue to drink more from this. And I pray that you have the length of life so that we can enjoy you for more years. Yes, sir.
You know why I'm happy about this program and more. I'm really I don't know what language to use about this generation. No, I don't see people now doing politics of principle. It's wherever we can go. And that's why you're having this outflow. Nobody's in any party because this is what the party stands for. This is what to achieve. And that's why it's easy for them to jump from this party to this party to this party. And I may bold, I've been saying it. Since I've been in the action group in 1952, I have been consistently consistent. There's one number in the yearbook in Lepe. My nickname to that consistently consistent. I win election, I win election, we lose election, I stand back. Because what I believe in is what they stand for. The other parties don't believe in it. It is those parties that are coming back after the damage has been done. One of those who are talking of structuring to do this, that. We have been talking of federalism all along. Although I've been saying this. It was on that we had independence until the military changed the whole thing. That's what you must know.
Yes, yes.
Before independence, there was dispute as to Azikiwe was president to military. His own Nigeria there was a unity government. Our own Nigeria was a federal system.
Yes.
So my politics have always been on principle. I was Ezekiel's ab initio. But when the question of ideology of how the countries will be comes in, we parted ways.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So that's the voice of our father. That's the voice of our father. Thank you so much, sir, for your time.